safe phone for kids and teenagers with parental controls. I mean, this is fascinating. And one of our team, Andy, ran across this next guest who said, you know, it's one thing to have a phone for the younger kids and stay in touch and, you know, maybe a little bit of a locator, that sort of thing. Well, how about the teens that perhaps need a little more of an eye, right? Whatever, as a parent, you want to deal with that. Well, the marketing director from a company called Guardian, is Coley Pritchett. Coley, welcome into Tomorrow. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you. First of all, Guardian, what does that mean? Does it mean something, the part?
Technically, it's like mobile to mobile was the original inspiration because we wanted parents to be able to control their child's phone from their own phone, be able to monitor and set up restrictions, whatever they needed to be able to do. Because, you know, there's a lot of friction involved when you're trying to take your child's phone away to check it or make sure they're not staying up all night using it.
What about the kids themselves? Are they likely to say, okay, mom and dad, I get it, you know, or I don't want you seeing anything I do? Well, if you're a good parent, you're going to say, well, that's too bad. You know, you're living under my roof, my rules, you want a phone, this is how it's going to work, right?
Yeah, exactly. And ideally you introduce these, like our software or our phone to a child when they're younger, so when they get their first phone, they're used to it, it just comes with it, and then as they get older, it can be adjusted. But we hear from a lot of children who tell us that they're actually glad that their parent was using our app because their parent got an alert about a concerning situation or something that the child, you know, when something scary happens, you just freeze up. They might not know how to bring it up to their parent, what to do, and the parent got an alert and then was able to intervene. So the child appreciated having that aspect watching out for them.
And in the sense of a younger child, may not know that a question they're being asked from what they might think is a classmate, you know, well, what's your address, or where do you live by, or something like that. Is that the kind of alert they can also get for the younger kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have, like, one of the alert categories is predators. So there have been plenty of instances where predators are grooming children and the parents get an alert. The child has no idea what's happening, but the parent gets an alert, they're able to intervene. And there was one instance where the grooming progressed so far before the parent was alerted that the predator had planned to drive from Georgia all the way to Texas to pick up the girl. And thankfully, the parent got an alert. She was able to contact the authorities, and they lured the predator there, and he was arrested and charged with felonies. But yeah, without the alert, she never would have known.
And as a former police officer for many years, that's the kind of thing that I can relate to say there can't be anything more important than protecting your kids. And especially from a younger age, and they're getting cell phones at a very young age these days. May or may not be happy about that as a parent, but it happens now. So as you said, get them at the younger age where they're just sort of growing into understanding mom and dad are going to be aware. Yeah. And I'm assuming the app is customizable so that parents can maybe let older teens, I don't want to say get away, but for a lack of another term, get away with more that's not so harmful or potentially harmful, right?
Yeah, we've designed it to be as customizable as the parent needs so they can be as hands-on or off as is necessary. The controls are very granular, so if the child is very young, they can lock down the phone, essentially making it so the child could only contact very few specific people and the parent can locate their phone, otherwise the child can't do anything in the phone. Whereas if the child, as they grow and age and prove they're responsible, parents can loosen the controls. And if it's an older teenager and a parent doesn't even want to have any sort of restrictions, they don't have to. They can just rely on the alerts, the AI, to scan and keep an eye out for things. Because you know, parents do have the option of reading all the messages if they want to, but the average teenager sends hundreds, if not thousands of messages a day. We monitor messages in Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, all of these social media apps. So you can imagine that number, that volume, parents don't have time to look through. So the AI automatically does that, and so it gives parents a lot of peace of mind knowing that they'll be alerted about concerning things.
And I think general chatting amongst friends from school or whatever, parents don't want to know all. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, the soccer game, I know, whatever. And that's good because you're then monitoring to alert them if something bizarre comes up or something, I guess, sexual in nature or even a scam? Do you monitor for scams, known scams that people are getting, unfortunately?
Yeah, one of the most common ones is the sugar daddy scam, where someone will say, "Hey, I'm a sugar daddy. I don't need anything sexual from you, but I just want to give you money." And then that's where they really start to worm their way in. And there's also sextortion cases where a child will think they're talking to an attractive female, for example.
Their age even, right?
Yeah, but it's a catfish, and the catfish will convince the child to video chat with them, and then the catfish will tell the child, "I was recording all of this." They talk the child into exposing them, and they tell the child, "I recorded that. I'm going to send it to all your friends and family unless you do whatever." Yeah.
And these scumbags learned it by watching Dateline NBC and those kinds of things.
And Black Mirror.
Right, yeah. I mean, all kinds of bizarre things. Can you show us the apps or how does it work, by the way, on Android or iPhones, or what kind of limitations?
We do have an Android and iOS apps. However, we recently launched the Guardian phone, which has the app built into it, which makes it a lot easier for parents. Not overwhelmed with all the different options and having to set it up. It's just taken care of for you, and it also gives us more control to make the app extremely tamper-proof. Like, children cannot even use safe mode to get around the restrictions or anything like that. So it's very locked down.
You've thought of everything.
Oh yeah, we've had an experience with kids these days are very tech savvy, so you gotta keep up with them.
You got to have some of these kids on your staff to say, okay, what would you guys do to handle this? And we're going to restrict that now.
Yeah, sometimes parents will write in saying their kid got past us, and we're like, "We'll pay your kid if they tell us how you did it." And then when they do, and we close that loophole.
Oh, very good. They'll pay the kid, so there you go. The kid gets a job, kind of dealing with it. Now, Chris is going to work very hard at showing, or you'll show us, but he's going to show the app in use, and you have a phone for both a child and what a parent might see, right?
So this is the Guardian phone, and it's just a normal Samsung phone, except it has the controls built in, but functionally it works just like a normal Samsung phone. So this is what the child would have. Now for the parent, they would have their parent app where they have this menu and they have all their controls here. And now I'm going to demonstrate one of the alerts. So what I'm going to do is send this picture, which is of a scantily clad female.
Now we have more people wanting to come see the video at intotomorrow.com, but trust me, he's showing us how, as a parent, you're going to be aware of this, and it may or may not be an issue or a problem, but you want to know as a parent, right?
Yeah, we've trained all our AI to be on the overly sensitive side just in case. Yeah, so what will happen is when this picture is received by the child's phone, the AI on the phone will scan the picture, and if it's determined as being potentially inappropriate, the parent's phone will get an alert, a notification, and they'll be alerted to that.
And they'll get the picture as well?
I'll cover that in a second. Yeah. So if it's a text alert, then they would be able to see the text message. So we just sent the image, so we should get a notification shortly. There it is. And so they get details about it. Now, when it comes to displaying what is being alerted about, for text messages, it will be shown in the parent app. They can see the content of the message, and they can also go and look at the entire conversation if they need more context. For images, we take privacy extremely seriously. So if an image was to be sent to the parent's phone or to a third party to diagnose if it's inappropriate or not, which is what some of our competitors do, that does require the photo to leave the phone and go into a database somewhere. Whereas all of our technology is built in-house and all of the AI detection occurs on the phone itself. So that picture never leaves the child's phone, which a lot of parents really care about, that kind of security. And so basically a copy of the picture will be made, stored in the app so a parent can log in and view the picture, even if the child deletes it.
Can the parent delete it?
Yes.
Good. So again, parent has control.
Yeah.
That's the key. And I find it fascinating that you're allowing so much control for the parents. And that's the key. It's 2024 now, and how much can you watch your child, right? Yeah. Otherwise, it also helps you to maybe confront the child. And why are you getting this information? Do you get that as a parent? Do you then know who sent it?
Yeah, you can see who sent and received messages. You can control who they're allowed to talk to. You can set only certain contacts to be allowed to communicate with a child. And we hear from a lot of parents who say they'll get an alert about drugs or something like that. And even if it's a false alert, it gives them an opening to have this discussion with their child about something. So a lot of parents it's not easy to talk to your child about these difficult subjects, but this gives you a very easy way to just bring the subject up and ease them into it.
So you help parents with, perhaps you want to consider discussing this or how to approach these subjects. And, it's up to the parent, but if you can help them kind of open that door, it's got to be easier for them and the child.
Yeah, exactly, because it's really scary. If you get an alert about suicide, then a lot of parents freak out. They don't know what to do. So we have a lot of resources, and we've actually been partnering with researchers. It's called Project Anchor, and they've been studying how parents handle children's suicide ideation and how children handle it. And so we've been partnering with them and connecting them with parents who have received suicide alerts so that they can study and help figure out how to best inform parents on how to handle these situations.
Well, Coley, you've been a delight to provide this info. And again, I couldn't be more impressed with helping to save children, helping to keep our kids safe. And what you guys are doing are making a huge difference. This is available at the moment as an app and or the physical phone, right?
Yeah, you can buy the phone on our website, mmguardian.com.
How much is it?
It is $9.99 a month for the parental control subscription. We have two models depending on the age of your child. The higher end is A14, which is $289, and the lower end is at A03, which is $189. But if you purchase an annual subscription, you'll get a really big discount on the phone, and you can also pay with low monthly payments via Affirm.
Good. And again, at half the price, whatever it costs to keep the kids safe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to visit mmguardian.com. We'll get you there, as always, with all of our guests when you visit us at intotomorrow.com. Coley Pritchett, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Keep up the good work. We're impressed.
Of course, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
It's our pleasure. mmguardian.com. I'm Dave Graveline. Hit us up anytime at intotomorrow.com. Check out all the videos from this year's CES. And you'll want to stay tuned. Many weeks worth of interviews from CES. More to come right here on the Advanced Media Network.